expecting anybody else. I don't see anybody in another 5 minutes.
Okay, let's go on right now.
I'll start then from a school perspective and turn it over to Chief.
Yeah, just introduce yourself at the beginning and that'll be great. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Reuter, the superintendent of the Germantown School District. Last night, an unfortunate event took place on our school district property at Kennedy Middle School. It's at something unusual in the school system. We're in a community like ours, or therefore any community wants to experience. However, given the information we were given, we acted swiftly and appropriately related to how we train all our staff and students for events that we hope never occur, just like last evening. I want to thank all of our students. We had approximately 70 students in the building, varying ages from elementary all the way to high school, and approximately 20 adults ranging from Germantown School District employees to committee members utilizing our facilities for their swift action to go into a lockdown and follow the procedures that we've outlined as a school district. I want to thank Chief Snow and the Germantown Police Department for their communication and their ability to swiftly get to the scene and take care of matters, as well as Washington County Sheriff and the Department of Justice and the communication with us as we navigate this unique situation and unfortunate situation in the school district. Currently, all of my principals are meeting with their entire staff applying our re-entry to school tomorrow for students. The exception of Kennedy Middle School, that building is currently closed. It will be closed until further notice from the Department of Justice to let us know when we can re-enter that building. This week, tomorrow is actually the last day of school. We have shortened week for parent-teacher conferences. Our four elementaries, Kelly Line, MacArthur, Rockfield, and Indieville will resume as normal tomorrow morning. So all the message went out to all of our families today, as well as staff. We worked, as well as the high school, we'll go back to normal schedule tomorrow, normal bus routes. We worked as a district team this morning with the Department of Justice Crisis Prevention team, and they walked us through some protocols for re-entry so that we can reestablish our safe, caring, learning, loving environment for all kids and all staff. And we look forward to welcoming children back tomorrow. We shared in our message today that parents who did not feel fit to send their children to school tomorrow, we understand. It will excuse those absences. And as we know more information about the status of Kennedy Middle School, we'll share that with the community, staff, and families as far as our re-entry plan for all staff and students there as well. With that, I'm going to turn over to Chief Snow to talk about what transpired last week.
Thank you. Last night, shortly after 6:30, Germantown Communications was report of a subject that responded to the scene and immediately saw this individual gain access to the roof of Kennedy Middle School. Our officers were able to pursue, once on the roof, shots were fired at officers and shots were exchanged. A third officer on scene also fired. The suspect was struck. Officers immediately attempted life-saving efforts along with Germantown Fire and Rescue. The subject did die on the scene. The purpose of this conference is to assure our students, our parents, our community that they're safe. We believe that they are safe going back to school tomorrow. We believe this was an isolated incident. We have no reason not to believe that. We think everyone is safe, and we are very grateful for the partnership we have with the Germantown School District. They worked with us last night to get children from the school to another location, a place of safety, and assisted us in all of our needs. I would stop just to point out, though, that did not happen by accident. This district, this department, have been committed to training students to be safe. We do lockdown drills regularly, and we have seen the progression of how these lockdown drills are performed with our students. Starting out, they weren't pretty. There was a lot of room for improvement. We're progressing to the part where trained officers are having a hard time nitpicking and finding things that they're doing wrong because they're doing them so well. And that's because the school district is committed to training, to committed to working with us to ensure that these students know what to do. And last night they demonstrated that almost flawlessly. That did not happen by us. We are grateful for that belief. I need to thank our law enforcement partners. I was overwhelmed by the response that we saw last night. Certainly Washington County and all the county agencies, municipal agencies, Mequon, Menominee Falls, Ozaki Sheriff. We had officers from communities in Waukesha showing up, federal agencies, state agencies. The support was overwhelming, and the support that the DCI has given us during this investigation has been a godsend. We're very grateful for those relationships and all the assistance we received during this very difficult time. I need to talk about our officers. They are on administrative leave for officers because that's our policy. We're placed on administrative leave. That is routine. I would say that these officers have my admiration, my respect. I can't say enough things about them. I really can't. When they received the report of shots being fired, they flew to the scene. They knew potentially children were in danger, and they were ready to risk their lives to make sure that that did not happen. And their efforts were just nothing short of heroic. And we need to remember that and to certainly keep them in our prayers. They're dealing with something that I frankly don't understand. I've never dealt with it. I've never been in that scenario in almost 30 years of law enforcement. So it's something that I haven't dealt with. But we're here to support them. We will give them our undying support and encourage them, and I'm sure that they're going to, at the end of the day, be very, very fine at the end of it. They're all very good officers. Just ask you to say a prayer for them. I will, and I know this community will rally behind them. We are grateful for the support this community has given us throughout these years, and I know that this will be no different. So that is what we wanted, the message that we wanted to share with everybody today, and this kind of message of support that we received, and very grateful to all our partners that helped us through this very, very difficult time.
Why is law enforcement not releasing the suspect's name at this time?
The investigation is being conducted by DCI, and they're not prepared to release it at this time. That's the best
Are
answer.
you able to give an age or gender? Do we know if this person was part of the school at all? Students, staff?
And any details are about the investigation, about anybody involved, are not details that we're prepared to release.
What do you guys mean by erratic behavior? What exactly does that mean? Can you flesh that out? Erratic behavior. What did they?
And I really don't have the full details of what happened prior to our arrival.
And was this person familiar with the school? How did they know to get on the roof? Did they know the school?
That I don't know.
Can you say how they did get on the roof? Was there a ladder? Or?
And these are all questions that are part of the investigation. I would just, at
Do
some
we know
point
what kind
we'll
of gun they had?
Again, these are just all parts of the investigation that we're not prepared to answer this time.
Do you plan on releasing body camera footage from the officers or dash camera footage of officers arriving on scene?
We're a long way from anything that would be released from body-worn cameras. And again, those questions we would be directed to DCI.
Did you
As
say
far as
4
the
officers
timetable
on the-
goes, Mike, I mean, was it 20 minutes, 10 minutes? I mean, how soon before officers arrived? I mean, I heard there was like a drone up. Was that a long process, or was it pretty quick?
All I can say was our officers were on scene very quickly.
And this happened shortly after that? I mean, can you give me a timetable as far as how long after they...
And I really don't have a timetable on it. I don't. I know that we were on scene very, very quickly. And the events transpired.
Did you say 4 officers were on leave?
That's correct.
4? How was the 4th one involved? I think the report said that 3 officers fired. So why is there 4 on leave?
Just in his proximity to the scene and his role in the investigation.
And just to clarify, you said you received reports of the initial
report was the subject acting erratically in the parking lot.
But then you mentioned the 4 officers on leave and how they responded to initial shots.
That was what they were responding to the subject acting erratically. As I said that,
You said this was an isolated incident. Was this a targeted attack at the school specifically? How is this isolated? Obviously, the suspect is dead, so there's no more threat to the community. But can you go into more detail about the isolation of the incident?
I guess the only thing I can say is through our contact with DCI, that is what they believe to be an isolated incident. They just want to
Isolated in the sense that he wasn't necessarily targeting the school.
Or was he acting alone?
we don't believe
For the superintendent, you were holding your annual meeting. Somebody in the audience made a comment that you all were making this up. Is that correct, in order to end the meeting?
My understanding is I made it I suggested possibly, since it's in the elected stage, and asked back to continue. At that time, I turned it over to our chairperson who was running the meeting, and I got in contact with law enforcement as we had to go into our safety protocols.
Chief, just confirming this was a he, this was a man.
Again, at this point, I'm just going to say that that's part of the investigation.
And are you able to say whether you've had any contact with him at this point before, prior to this?
Again, so pretty much we're just on information that we can't really discuss at this point. So the message we really want to discuss with this reassuring community that they are safe, that their kids going back to school tomorrow, we have are safe. So thank you for
Do you know how long the police officers have been on the Germantown police force? 4 officers.
and that information I don't have.
Mike, what's the turnaround time, and when we'll receive more information on the suspect? Do you know?
I can't.
Uh-huh.
I just don't know.
Are officers still on scene at Kennedy? Are law enforcement still on scene at the school right now, or?
I believe there is still an investigation ongoing at the scene, but I'm not positive on that.
And around 11:20, I between 11 and 11:20, I started seeing some vehicles leave. When did the majority of the vehicles leave? When was it close to clear? The last night.
sorry, I didn't-
When did the majority of squads leave that area last night?
Leave last night?
Yeah, because I started seeing some vehicles between 11 and 11:20.
Yeah, and that's possibly the time. I don't know the exact time that it started to, started to leave. Very late or very early in the morning.
Chief, hearing that Jackson police were conducting a test over radio waves during this incident, did that have any impact at all on the response?
Any concerns about safety risk at the school when it comes to entering the building if this person was able to access the roof so easily? Is there a concern for additional safety measures, whether it be a front door, a side door, a window that they could have also easily accessed?
No concerns at all.
Quick question for the superintendent. Can you talk to any services or assistance that the district's going to provide students, since most of the schools are going to be back tomorrow?
Yep, our on-site schools counselors, psychologists, and other social workers. We're working this afternoon. We met, as I said, with the Department of Justice Crisis Prevention. They walked us through and provided resources, as well as Washington County Executive Mr. Tillman reached out to me and my team, and we'll be providing services as we be at each of our buildings for not only our students but staff as well. We'll monitor the situation tomorrow, and then we'll assess when we're hoping to be back as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you coming out.
You've been watching a live broadcast of a press conference at the Germantown Police Department regarding an incident Monday night that involved shots fired at Kennedy Middle School. This live broadcast is brought to you by American Commercial Real Estate.